Welcome to Sports Talk.
Hello, everyone. This is Nick from Talk About Sports. Today we're over my 2022 cornerback scouting analysis. We have six pages to go over worth of notes. I mean, we have a lot of notes here to go over today. So let's hop right into this. I'm hoping that this video is going to be under an hour. We'll wait and see. I'm going to try to throw it extremely fast so we get this over with pretty dang quickly. If you have any questions, please be sure to comment in the comment section below and be sure to tune into our live draft show. Let's get this thing underway. Here we go. Here's our 2022 cornerback prospects. So here's my track record, right? Date all the way back to 2019. So again, 2019, I had Reedy Williams 1, DeAndre Baker 2, Trayvon Mullen 3, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson 4, Byron Murphy 5, and Rocky Ya-Sin 6. I definitely think that you can definitely do some rearranging here. Again, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson got moved to safety, so I don't know how much you can really blame me on that when he plays slot and he plays the safety a little bit. You got other people like DeAndre Baker who got in trouble a lot, so he never really got a chance to play. And honestly, I'm going to be honest with you. Right now, you might be able to make an argument that Rocky Ya-Sin is the best cornerback that came out of this draft class. So there's your argument there that I could have got this totally wrong in 2019. 2020, I had A.J. Terrell 1, Jeff Okudah 2, Christian Fulton 3, C.J. Henderson 4, Bryce Hall 5, Jeff Gladney 6, and Trayvon Diggs 7. You're like, oh, man, you got Trayvon Diggs 7. You disgusting. Look, I'm gonna be honest with you. Most people had Jeff Okudah 1. I did not have him 1. I had AJ Terrell over him. A lot of people had CJ Henderson as like number 2. Okay, so me having Henderson 4, I mean, that was something that many people did not have. Most people had Okudah 1, Henderson 2. They had like Christian Fulton 3. Then maybe Terrell. Then they would have like a Jeff Gladney and a Bryce Hall. Trayvon Diggs was way down the list for everybody. Now look, Trayvon Diggs, you didn't make an argument that he is not really as good as AJ Terrell is, really. I mean, the reason why you're going to say this is because Trayvon Diggs will make a phenomenal acrobatic play, and then he'll let up like a 40-yard touchdown because he's too aggressive. So there are times when Trayvon Diggs shines. There are times when Trayvon Diggs is, not doing so hot. And then 2021, J.C. Horn 1, Patrick Surtain 2, Caleb Farley 3, Eric Stokes 4, Marco Wilson 5, Sean Wade, Greg Newsome, Kelvin Joseph, Paulson Aldebo, and Asante Samuel. People are going to say, Nick, you're wrong again. You got Asante Samuel like 10. He should have been 3. What the heck are you doing? A Surtain should have been 1. Look, I'm going to be honest with you. I still think J.C. Horn got hurt last year, so we didn't really get to see what he did or what he could do, but he is a phenomenal player when he's healthy. Surtain's also phenomenal. Farley was injury prone coming out. He had a terrible back injury. I think you're going to make an argument that he was the best prospect coming out, but his injury concerns made me put him at 3. Eric Stokes had a really good year for the Green Bay Packers. This guy was like not even in people's top 10. I had him ranked at 4. I really liked him. Marco Wilson's playing for the Arizona Cardinals. I like him as well. You got Sean Wade, who I was a huge fan of. He got actually traded immediately, and he really didn't pan out to be so hot right now. Greg Newsome, I was a huge fan of his film. Go back and watch the video from last year. The issue with him was that he never finished an entire season. So he never was healthy enough to finish an complete season. That concerned me. Kelvin Joseph was another guy I was a huge fan of. Paulson Aldebo, I liked him a little bit. And Asante Samuel, I wasn't a huge fan of him, but he looked like he was really good for the LA Chargers. So let's hop in now to my grade scale. Here is my grade scale. So this is what I rank people on, or, my grading is on their in-game speed, their man coverage, zone coverage, press coverage, ball hawking ability, deflections, tackling, hip power, flexibility, cutting routes, deep routes. And this is after complete analysis after film study and the pro day. So let's hop right into this now. Here's the first guy, Derek Stingley. He earned 72 as his grade. That means he earned 72% of the possible points being able to be earned. He's 6 foot 190, around a 4.37. This kid is going to be special. I mean, he may be the best man-to-man cornerback I have seen in a long, long time. He can play press coverage or off coverage, and he is never a step behind. The coverage is always extremely tight, and he's able to high point the 50-50 balls and take it the other way. He does a good job cutting routes, but also does a great job covering the deep ball. Although he can make some great interceptions, there are times that he drops the easy ones. The only negative I have, which is truly not a negative, would be he is extremely aggressive in ball hawking, right? He is just a definition of a ball hawk. He may try to make a play in the NFL and while doing so, give up a touchdown, right? So a little bit like that Trayvon Ditch thing. He might try to leap for a ball that he just can't get to. And rather than just tackling the wide receiver, he might go for the interception and let up a touchdown. As a tackler, he can get to every play because just how fast he is. And he is fast enough to get to every play. But sometimes he does not wrap up cleanly. So his ability to get to the ball is great, but his ability to finish cleanly is sometimes an issue. Overall, his film is nearly flawless. That is when he wants to play, okay? When he wants to play. So what are his strengths? He's great in man coverage. He has tight coverage all around. Good in press coverage. He's good at high pointing the football. Good at cutting routes. Good ball hawk. Very aggressive. But his weaknesses, again, he's over aggressive at times. Also, it is a strength. His tackling is not always clean, and his motor, he just lacks motor, right? He doesn't have the high motor like everyone else. And everyone says, his freshman film is beautiful. And every year it got worse and worse. It's not necessarily that it got worse, I would say. His stats definitely fell off that. But when you watch him just run to the football and stuff, it definitely got like, he didn't want to play. He just lacked that motor that you want to see from most players. Here's his breakdown. You're more than welcome to look at that. And here's the next guy, Andrew Booth Jr., earned a 71. 6 foot, 194, 4'4", 40. This kid is special. He can play both man and zone very well, and occasionally he plays press coverage, which shows that he can do it when he's asked. He has by far the most flexibility out of the top 3 cornerbacks in the draft class. He does an amazing job deflecting balls out of the air that he should not be able to have the range to get to. So again, his flexibility and just his, the ability that he can get up and get a handle on the ball is absolutely phenomenal. He can make some amazing interceptions if the ball is thrown in his vicinity. Comes up and takes out people's legs very quickly, but does not wrap up the way I would like to see him do it. He flies to the ball carrier and tries to hit them hard every single time. But again, I question just his pure wrapping up tackling. What are his strengths? Good man coverage, good ball hawk, good at making deflections. Hit power is always going to hit someone hard. Good flexibility, and they fly to the ball carrier. His weaknesses, his tackling, and he does not always wrap up. And anything that is not listed under strength or a weakness, that's just that average area, right? There's things that, that I see as so-so. Here's his breakdown. You're more than welcome to look at that. And here's the next guy, earned a 70 as a grade, Josh Jobe, 5'11", 182, 4'5", 40. Now, again, my final rankings, my personal analysis will be at the end where I rank all these guys. So here we go. This kid can absolutely lay the boom. He is really hard hitter and a pretty good tackler. He plays with attitude, and I love it. I question his speed on some deep balls as he tends to be slightly behind. He is good at jumping routes and deflecting passes, not the greatest ball hawk, though. So his strengths, he lays the boom, good at deflecting the ball, good tackler, and good at cutting routes. His weaknesses, not the greatest ball hawk in the world, and he doesn't really defend the deep route the greatest. Here's his breakdown. You're more than welcome to look at that as I go to page 2. Here's the next guy, Alante Taylor, 6 foot, 199, runs a 4.3, 640. Again, another fast guy, okay? This kid has all the tools to be special. He is new at the cornerback position as he transferred in 2018 from a receiver. He is great at planting off the back leg and driving to the football to jump the routes. He shows great speed on film, but he is not the greatest man-to-man cover corner. He does not lack speed on the deep ball, but at times he is beat on some moves that puts him behind. So again, it's not that he lacks the speed to carry the deep ball, but sometimes he gets fooled by a little bit of a double move. He can be really special if put with good coaching, but the lack of experience is going to drop him down boards. He absolutely lays a boom, and he is a good tackler. Plays with tremendous effort, and will, at the very least, be a phenomenal special teams player. Because, again, in college, he's a great special teams player. Lots of good vertical on film, and this is also shown at the combine. His vertical was one of the worst, I think, in the entire combine. And, it was not good at all. It was pretty dang putrid. So, what are his strengths? Very fast, good zone coverage corner, pretty good at ball hawking, good at tackling, good hit power, and good at cutting routes. And again, that might be because he's a former receiver, right? He sees something and he reacts to it because, again, he has experience playing the receiver position. His weaknesses, press coverage. I would not put him in press coverage right away. If a coach can teach him how to do it and be special at it, this is something that he maybe develop. Not the greatest at getting deflections as he lacks a vertical, right? He doesn't have that vertical to get up there and deflect the ball. Lacks the deep routes, gets fooled on some double moves, lacks experience at the position, and again, lacks the vertical. Here's his breakdown. You're more than welcome to look at it. Here's the next guy, Marcus Jones, 5'8", 174, 440. A little bit smaller now. We're going to the 5'8", right? So that's an area where you gotta say, all right, he's a little bit small. Let's see what we got. This kid loves the game of football. He will pursue a player 20 yards downfield, which shows he has no quit. He plays cornerback and is very elusive kick returner. He can play both man and zone pretty well, which makes him fit multiple schemes. He is a decent ball hawk, but drops passes at times. Really good at cutting routes and hitting the ball carrier. Makes some great deflections, but cannot give him a higher grade because of the lack of size, as it's tough for him to deflect higher, the high passes against taller defenders. But he is very good deflecting passes against most receivers. Overall, really clean film, besides hurts. Strengths, great pursuit, good hit power, good at cutting routes, and he's a good kick returner. Weaknesses, he just lacks that size that you'll like to see. 5'8", again, doesn't mean that he can't be a good corner, but it just shows that against a guy that's 6'4", 6'3", he's not going to be able to cover him one-on-one. Here's his breakdown. You're more than welcome to like that. And here's the next guy, Kyla Gordon, 5'11", 194, runs a 4.5, 240. This kid shows some really good signs of potential. I think he's really good coverage cornerback in both systems, okay? His tackling may be the best in the draft of the cornerback position. He also does a really good job cutting routes and deflecting passes. Not the greatest ball hawk, but I must say he gets to the football a lot. Strengths, good at deflecting passes, good at tackling, and he gets the ball carrier. Weaknesses, not the greatest on the deep routes. Here's his breakdown. You're more than welcome to look at that. Here's the next guy, Montee Brown, 6', 196, 4'5", 540. This kid has some good film, if I'm going to be honest. Is he the fastest cornerback in the draft? No. But he does a great job deflecting passes using his flexibility. He does a good job downfield for his lack of speed. Really good ball hawk and drives great on comeback routes and curl routes. He cuts routes consistently and does a great job tackling the ball carrier. He could be one of the sleepers in this draft. So his strengths, he's a ball hawk, right? He's great at making deflections. He's good at tackling. He has great flexibility, and he's good at cutting routes and driving off that back leg to, jump the routes. Weaknesses, not the greatest in press coverage because honestly, here's a reason. These all kind of add up to each other. He's not good at press because he lacks the elite speed to cover the deep ball. Okay, so that's how that kind of sums up itself. Here's his breakdown. You're more than welcome to look at that as we go on to page 3 now. Here's the next guy, Ahmed Saucegarden, 6'2", 190, 4'4", 140. This kid can play both man and zone, but is not crazily special in either. He is a good coverage corner, but he had a ton of, cornerback blitzes in college, which again, I like it. I mean, it shows you that he can tackle and get after the quarterback and all that fun stuff, but I just want to see coverage, right? At the end of the day, you're a cornerback because you're supposed to cover, right? And he's decent at coverage, but a lot of it, they try to get a little fancy with him. He gets a good amount of deflections, but his film did not pop out to me that much. Better in zone than in man. Now, here's the thing, okay? This guy's a great prospect because he has elite size. He's pretty good in zone coverage, good hit power, and good at cutting some routes in zone coverage. Weaknesses, not the greatest at making deflections, not just the greatest pure tackler, and I never really seen him cover a deep route. Does he do it on occasion? Yes. But he usually plays an underneath zone role, right? In like a Tampa 2, cover 2 system. He's a flat route. He doesn't really get downfield. Really good, coming up, hitting somebody, doing this, that, and the other thing. 6'2", has that size. Could be very special prospect. See where I rank him at the end. I could be lying to you. Here's his breakdown. You're more than welcome to look at it. Here's the next guy, Tariq Castro Field, 6', 197, 4'3", 840. This kid is loaded with IQ and is really good underneath zone cornerback. He seems to react really well to screen passes and come up and make a tackle easily. He is good at tackling and reading the play. I would not consider him a lockdown quarterback down the field by any means. He sometimes falls behind when impressed man covers on deep routes. So here's his strengths. Great IQ, good underneath zone corner, good at tackling, and has good hit power. Weaknesses, deflections is not the greatest, and he's not the greatest at deep routes. Here's his breakdown. You're more than welcome to look at that. And here's the next guy, Kareem Elam, okay, 6'1", 191, 4'3", We got some burners in this draft. This kid is an all-around good cornerback. He has a speed to cover most players, but is not a crazy playmaker like some of the other top cornerbacks in this draft class. He does win some 50-50 balls on film, but in the NFL, quarterbacks are going to throw better throws than the ones that he's picking off, right? A lot of the ones that he's picking off are underthrown, this, that, and the other thing, not the most accurate, so he picks it off. He can play in a man-to-man or zone scheme and play press or off coverage. Decent coverage corner, but not a phenomenal ball hawk. So strength, he's an all-around corner. Play him in man, play him in zone, play him press, play him not press. Can do a little bit of everything, but not phenomenal at anything. Weaknesses, he's not the greatest ball hawk, and he's not the best tackler in the draft. Here's his breakdown. You're more than to look at that. And here's the next guy, Roger McCrary. Okay, 5'11", 190, runs a 4.5. This kid covered receivers very tightly. He lined up outside and in the slot in the film I watched. He was able to stick tightly in man and zone plays, which shows he can be utilized as a versatile defender and in multiple defenses. I would say he is special in man coverage, though, with the ability to play press or off coverage. He is not the greatest ball hawk, but he does rack up the amount of deflections. But he does rack up a good amount of deflections. Did not see much film on him tackling, right? There's a lack of film of him just, getting a nice, pure, just nice, beautiful, clean tackle. You just don't see that on film. But he was always right on top of his receivers down the field. So it's tight coverage this guy has. Tackling and hit power are slightly in question because, again, the lack of film. Strengths, good at man coverage. Really good at man coverage. And he's good at deflecting the ball. Weaknesses, tackling, and hit power. Everything else is right around average. Here's his breakdown. You're more than welcome to that as we go to page 4 of 6. We're getting there. Here's the next guy, Trent McDuffie. 5'10", 193, runs a 4.4, 4.40. This kid is one of those quarterbacks that can come up and lay a nice hit. He is not afraid to hit you, nor is he afraid to wrap up. A true zone corner that can play some man-to-man or press coverage. He has really good instincts and can read and react to the play around him. He is really great at peeling off his coverage and coming up to make a tackle. He is a better underneath cornerback than he is over the top. He is not a crazy ball hawk or crazy flexible to knock balls down on 50-50 balls, but he's really good at reacting to underneath zone plays. Here's his strengths. Good zone corner, good at tackling, and good hit power. Weaknesses, not the greatest ball hawk, doesn't have the greatest flexibility, and not the greatest on some deep routes. Here's his breakdown. You're more than welcome to look at that as we go to the next guy. Zion McCollum, 6'2", 199, runs a 4.33. Holy crap, right? What is going on? How are we seeing some of this crap? It's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. You see some of these numbers nowadays. And I'm sorry, I got to intervene here. And it's like, how can someone be, 6'2" and run a 4.3340? To me, it's insane. It's truly, truly, truly insane. Okay, so again, let's see what he has on film. This kid has potential with his size and speed. He has pretty good cover skills as well, but there was a lack of film. He also tackles well. That's what I give that. A big crap show right there. Okay, not the greatest. Okay, a little bit of diarrhea, if I have to say. Not a lot of film. Great size, great speed. Just not a lot to watch. So you're drafting this guy, in my opinion, based off of, the physicality. He has great size, great speed. He's all around pretty well. Can play some man, play some zone on the limited film I watched. And he has great potential. That's a key word, great potential. The weaknesses, deflections, and cutting routes. Did not see many of that in the film. So here's the thing. Everything else is average. Do you want to bet on a guy where there's not a lot of film on him? I'm sure that NFL analysts and executives and GMs have a lot more film than I do. But again, the film that I saw, there wasn't a lot. So this guy can turn out to be one of the best guys in the draft. Definitely going to be great to play on Madden with because he's fast and he's big and he's this and he's that. But just not going to be great on man-to-man or zone coverage, in my opinion. He's all around okay. Can play a little bit of both. As you see here, I don't break this down all the time, but B, 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 B minus, B, 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 B minus, B. So it's all like B's and B minuses. So again, if you get a good coach, this guy can be special. Here's the next guy, Martin Emerson, 6'1", 201, 4'5", 340. Mainly a zone cornerback who can come up laying nice hit. He does not seem to be the fastest downfield and tends to play the underneath zone cornerback role. I think he will be the best in a scheme that puts him in the flats because he is solid at tackling at his position. Strengths, good at tackling, good hit power, good at underneath zones. Weaknesses, lacks elite speed. He's not really a great ball hawk, and he's not really great on deep routes. Here's his breakdown. You're more than welcome to look at that as we go to the next guy. Jermaine Walker, 6 foot 180, 4'6", 840. This kid seems much faster than his 40 time represents. He looks really good when he is driving back to the football, and he can play outside at the slot, outside in the slot at times. He's not the fastest cornerback, but in a certain scheme, he could be a solid player. Considering he can play on the outside or in the slot truly helps. He is also a good tackler. So again, this is a guy that has a lot of things that are considered average. Good tackler, good at cutting routes. The weaknesses, lack speed. As a 40 time, he seems a little bit faster on film than he does 40 time, but the 40 time is a concern. Deflections and deep route. You know, that deep route, just not having that speed to cover it is a little bit concerning. Here's his breakdown. You're more than welcome to look at that as we go to the next guy, page 5. All right, we're almost done. Taylor Britt, okay? 5'10", 196, runs a 4.3, 840. This kid is just a playmaker in the sense of he is going to hit you. All right, he's extremely versatile. He can play in the slot or on the outside. He is not great in coverage, and in the cornerback spot, that is not a great sign. But he is a phenomenal tackler and great at laying the boom. If a coach can coach up his coverage skills and allow his physicals to shine, he could be a great player in this draft class. He can hit well and he can run fast. He also plays a returner role, but he was not extremely special there, to be honest with you. Overall, a developmental player that could shine if coached up well and in a certain scheme. Now, again, at 5'10", 196, 438, again, he has some of the physicals that you can ask for, right? Strengths, playmaker, tackling, hip power, potential is very high if he's coachable. Weaknesses, coverage right now is not the greatest. Press coverage is not the greatest. Ball hawk is not the greatest. Cutting routes not the greatest. And deep routes not the greatest. Yeah, he's just not the greatest, coverage corner. Here's a breakdown. You're more than welcome to look at that. Here's the next guy, Calwright. 5'10", 173, runs a 4.5, 740. Terrible speed. This kid is going to be a developmental player. Some of his best plays were honestly as a kick returner. He can become a decent cornerback, but I would not consider him a top cornerback in this draft class. He shows good agility and flexibility. His cover skills are not the greatest, nor would I trust him pressing against a bigger wide receiver. Here's his strengths. Good at deflections, good flexibility. Weaknesses, zone is a below average. Press coverage is, again, not the greatest. Bull hawk's not the greatest, and cutting routes not the greatest. Here's his breakdown. You're more than welcome to look at that. And here's the next guy, Caleb Evans, 64 grade, 6'2", 197, runs a 4.4, 640. This kid has very limited film, so this is a flash warning. On the amount of film I was able to watch, it was not the most impressive. He seemed to fall behind some deep routes at times and found himself behind, behind most in-breaking routes. So slants, in routes, all that stuff. He fell behind sometimes, which again could just be a little bit of stuff that, he has to clean up. Overall, without the film, it's very hard to study or to put a stamp on them. Okay. So again, it's, it's just, there's not a lot of film there, and I really don't want to bash this guy again. He doesn't have many strengths on the film I got to watch, right? It's hard to put a stamp on him. It's hard to, he's a really hard study. There's just not a lot there. A lot of average, but some weaknesses I got listed here: deflections, flexibility, cutting routes, and deep routes. Here's his breakdown. You will walk a look at that. And here's the next guy, Tariq Woolley, 6'4", 205, 426. I almost crapped my pants when I saw that, okay? This kid has some of the best physicals I have ever seen. Extremely tall and fast, but he lacks experience at the cornerback position. His cover skills are below average, and so is his press coverage. The thing we must bet on is his potential. If the right coach coaches this guy up, he could be an absolute freak. Right now, he is very unpolished, although he has a phenomenal vertical and speed. He can tackle very well as well, seems to read some wide receiver routes and zone coverages, possibly because he is a converted receiver. Okay, so that's that. Here's his strength. Super quick, amazing size, great physicals, good at deflecting passes, shows good hit power on film, good at cutting routes, and he has a ton of potential. Weaknesses: zone is below average, not the greatest press coverage corner, and deep routes not the greatest. Now, again, has the tools, has the things that you want to see, but not just polished yet. And again, this guy could be the most special cornerback I've ever seen with my two own eyes if the right coach gets a hold of him. Here's a breakdown. You're more than welcome to look at that as we're on our final page. Hallelujah. Let's see it. Cornerback Kobe Bryant, 6'1", 193, runs a 4.5, 4.40. This kid does a good job forcing fumbles by knocking the ball loose. He's a decent coverage cornerback, but I would not consider him near the top of the class. Going to need a lot of coaching, to get him to where he needs to be. Here he is, right? Strengths, forcing fumbles and shows good hit power. Weaknesses, lacks the elite speed that you need at the position. Zone below average, press coverage. Below average, ball hawking, deflections, and deep routes. He needs to all work on those. Here's his breakdown, and here's the next guy, Mario Goodrich, 6 foot 176, runs a 4.5, 240. This kid is a raw prospect. He shows that he wants to play football and is willing to tackle, but he does not always have the greatest form tackles. He barely played man coverage in the film I watched, but mostly played underneath zone coverages. Going to need a lot of coaching or a specific scheme to be a top player in the NFL. Strengths, he wants to play football, but his weaknesses, all right, here they are. Press coverage, he's not the greatest ball hawk, doesn't make the best deflections because he lacks the flexibility to do so, doesn't cut routes amazingly, and he just, he's not the greatest on the deep routes either. Here's his breakdown. I could be totally wrong, but again, I would not have him ranked too high. You'll see that in a second on my personal analysis. And the last guy, Darius Kendrick. Pretty putrid if you ask me. 5'11", 194, runs a 4.75 40. This kid is slow and does not show many great traits in his film. He's a decent tackler, but will primarily fit in zone schemes. He is not bad when he decides to get his hand on during press coverage, but he does not do it often. So strengths. Press coverage is not bad when hands are on. Weaknesses, super slow. Man coverage, zone below average, ball hawking abilities below average, deflections are below average, deep routes are below average, and press coverage are below average. Here's his breakdown. You're more than welcome to look at that. Here's, according to the grade scale, this is the order that we just went over. You're more than welcome to look at that. Again, this is just the order that we're winning. According to the grade scale, this is how the people rank. Here's the 2022 compared to the 2021 according to the grade scale. So again, based on this year's grade scale and last year's grade scale, I put them together. And it still has J.C. Horn ranked as a number 1 guy. Then it has Derek Stingley, then Surtain, then Andrew Booth, Farley, Stokes, Newsome, Jobe, Taylor, Wilson, Jones. 2022 compared to 2021 via personal analysis, okay? So last year I had Horn ranked as my number 1 guy, then Surtain. Then again, it was Farley like you saw earlier in the video. I'm going to slide Derek Stingley at 3 and Ahmed Saucegarden at 4 because here's the thing. I think Stingley has the tools to be the best cornerback in the draft class and maybe over the last 2 years, but his motor is not there. And that's the issue I'm having here is that he may be the most talented in my opinion. He truly may be, although that the grade scale, if you go back here, disagrees, right? He's the number 2 ranked guy. He might be tied with J.C. Horn, but again, going back to this, I just personally, I got Stingley ranked at 3 and Gardner ranked at 4. So again, it's just the lack of motor from Stingley. Stingley, in my opinion, is far beyond Ahmed Saucegarden. You're going to see that in a second. So you're more than welcome to look at this list here, and we're going to go to the next list, which is going to show you my ranking for this year's draft. Here it is. I got Stingley 1, Gardner's 2, Booth Jr. 3, Josh Jobe 4, Gordon, McCollum, Castro, Fields, Brown, Taylor, Jones, Elam, McCrary, Duffy, Woolen, Evans, Emerson, Waller, Taylor Britt, Wright, Bryant, Goodrich, and Kendrick. This is my list. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I'm going to talk to you for 2 seconds here. Let me stop the share real fast. Hello, I'm back. All right, so there's my ranking. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section below. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, and I'll see you guys soon. Again, my order can still change. Be sure to watch us on the live draft show on April 28th. And I'm going to be making sure to put out my, I'll adjust my rankings before the draft. I'll see you guys soon. Peace. We are Built Better.